going on in India, specifically Delhi, with regards to the farmer protests in India. I know we talked a bit about this before the Christmas break, but then on 26th of Jan, it was India's Republic Day, which basically is like, it's a bit like a bank holiday for them. Like, it's a bit like a celebration. There's parades, all that type of stuff. And just to go into what has actually happened over there, from what we've seen on social media. So this is going off what we've seen from various different social media accounts, people that were actually present in Delhi at the time. 26th of Jan, Indian Republic Day, there was a tractor parade. The farmers travelled in towards Delhi. It was meant to travel like basically to the outskirts of Delhi before making a U-turn, basically. It's sort of like a loop, sort of a bit like a rally almost. And when they were there, they actually, I think people were surprised to find that a lot of Delhi inhabitants actually did turn out and support. Like, they were actually showing like vocally that they supported the farmers and were joining in with the slogans, all that type of stuff. They had actually got permission to do this rally, but the police had placed, this is the Delhi police, had placed barriers around Delhi. I don't really understand where it was, but they basically put barriers up, which doesn't really make any sense if they were actually allowed to have that rally. I don't get why they blocked them off. But from the different social media accounts that I've looked into, from what I can understand, what happened was everything was peaceful, everything was fine, and then suddenly there was this loud explosion, and basically, obviously, they saw all this smoke, and then everyone was like, oh great, it's tear gas, basically. So, again, not trying to get the show cancelled, but this is going off what I have read on social media as to what has happened. Apparently, Indian police attacked peaceful protesters with tear gas, water batons, and just caused general chaos. And actually, they caused the actual chaos and, like, yeah, chaos. That's basically no other way to describe it, really. Hundreds were injured, many are missing, and one person is dead. And they then began to unlawfully arrest innocent protesters. In the days following that, the police actually have cut out the internet and CCTV in the Delhi area at various protest sites. They've also cut off food and water supplies to the protest sites. And basically the media in India, which is state-owned, is trying to turn things and make it seem like, oh, it was the farmers, they caused all this, blah, blah, blah. And basically, apparently, again, this is allegedly the police are actually transporting Hindu nationalists to these protest sites to basically wreak havoc within the protest sites and attack people. So just to take that in, the police are escorting people to then go and be violent, which is basically
not
just
entirely surprised. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's to discredit the protest.
Yeah. So yeah, and also I don't know if you guys have seen, there was that image of the guy that had climbed up on the Red Fort and had put up the Nishan Sahab flag, which is widely associated with the Sikh faith. It's actually circulating a rumour that apparently he is actually a member of the BJP, and the whole thing apparently has been fabricated and basically constructed to basically put the farmers in a bad light and give them an excuse to actually attack them.
Yeah, a lot of them have been arrested on like terrorism charges as well, like domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
It's like, what did they do? Like, it's not even like you could say, oh yeah, you were being violent, because from the videos that I've seen and from all the accounts that I've seen of people that aren't actually farmers and have no bias or no reason to actually lie, they've all said that it was completely peaceful until they started basically stirring it. Like,
yeah. I mean, but that's it's such a like typical tactic, isn't it, of like counter it's a very typical counter protest tactic, because if the protests are seen as being violent, it's then grounds to kind of like discredit and dismiss.
What
it's the state of it at the moment. It's a lot of media driven, and like like I say, I've always said this, but in India is completely sensationalist. And again, like it being, it doesn't come as a surprise where everything becomes very one-sided. It's very biased. It's almost like you won't really have a voice. Like you can see that within virtually every case that's going on right now. You've got the Sushant Singh Rajput case, which is for some reason taking more limelight over actual serious like issues like this, and it's kind of mad to me.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's taken such a
bro,
hold on like the actual like subcontinent, bro.
I was like, how's people moving to that? Like it's crazy. It's also, I don't know if you guys have also read, but according to an article in India called the Tribune, over 100 Punjab farmers have been missing since Republic Day rally.
Yeah, this is what they're trying to say. Like, so many people are missing, which honestly, hopefully they've been arrested, because I'd rather that than them just have been gone missing and then something else happened to them. Like, I don't know.
But you know, this is again like a very it's an established tactic. Like, for example, you know, like the Ferguson riots in America.
Yeah.
It was like when it happened in 2014, 2015, and then later on the BLM protest that happened in 2020. People in the 2020 protest, people were very, very careful about showing their faces and circulating in photographs of protesters, because in the 2014, 2015 protest, a lot of people who had kind of become gone viral for being in protest photographs had gone missing. And obviously, like, we can't really make any allegations on here, but you guys can at home can kind of figure out for yourself what might have been going on.
Yeah.
You know, why that is that these people are going missing.
And I think there's also a sense of finger pointing in that, oh, that's over there in India, they're not as
It's barbaric
progressive,
anyway, yeah,
like
exactly.
they're behind in times. But regardless of how you come to have those views, this is happening in America, like, which is supposedly supposed to be, again, quote fingers, progressive sort of thing. So
I mean, but everything that they're doing, like everything that's going on in India, has a global resonance. For example, like the cutting off the CCTVs, we've seen that with the Lekki Toll massacre in Nigeria. They did the same exact thing. They did the massacre and then they switched off all the CCTV, so there was no liability footage. The protesters going missing, we can compare that to Ferguson. The protesters being charged with draconian anti-terrorism laws. We see that even in the UK with Stansted 15, you know, the same exact thing. When they were trying to stop deportations, they got arrested on terrorism laws.
Yeah, and thankfully yesterday, I think it's that no charges were made. I know or that they basically got off. Basically, I know that.
But they tried it. Like the state really tried it. You know?
I know they were really nervous about the result, because they honestly.
It sets a ridiculous precedent, a terrifying precedent if they had actually been charged with terrorism. But like everything that's going on, these are established tactics. Like we see this across the world globally when there's a mobilization of like the people.
Right. So again, I think we've talked in previous episodes about where you can go to support the ongoing farmer protests. So if you go back to previous episode, you should be able to find a list of various organizations you can support. Also, not gonna lie, it's quite easy to just go on social media and find these organizations for yourself. I think the main thing is actually
definitely, like, one of them is the Khalsa Aid, so you should definitely look into that. Again, get straight into it.
And also, like, I think something needs to be said about the way that they're conflating this issue to be one of obviously, you know, they're talking about like charging with a lot of the protesters with terrorism charges. A lot of kind of like mainstream media, and particularly Hindutva, they're kind of framing this as a problem of like Khalistan. So for those who don't know, Khalistan is kind of like the self-determination movement of Punjabi Sikhs, and obviously because it's these people that have been like disproportionately affected, and that is where the heart of the protests is. People are saying that they're just doing this for Khalistan, and you know they're terrorists because they're trying to form Khalistan, and they're against the state and all of this stuff, and it is just diverting from the issue of like state-sanctioned violence against the farmers.
Pretty much that, really. Like, it's in the best way possible. It's like they've gotten so good at gaslighting people, as well at the same time. It's crazy. It's like, it's almost also like, I don't know if you I don't know if it's like if this is like a standard thing, and I'm not saying necessarily parents do this, but like if you ask a parent or an Asian parent why you can't do something, and they sort of fall back on like so many different reasons as to why you can't, but they never answer why. Like the UK government, I mean not the UK government, but also well, I guess the UK government, but also like the BJP party is basically doing the same thing, but they're giving you really random reasons and like sort of not just random reasons, but like things that are obviously rooted in history, but they're sort of using history to turn it against other people. Like I don't know. I feel like right now it's like it's a bit like a massive black hole. They're gonna implode on themselves at one point.
I think it's because like the issue of Khalistan is framed as a kind of historically politically contingent territorial threat to India because it is a separatist movement. In framing this issue as the issue of like Khalistan, that essentially is what they're doing. They're diverting the attention away from what is actually at the heart of this, which, as I said, is state sanctioned violence.
Yeah.